everyone, I am Vladimir from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul, and I will present our paper Characterizing Visual Acuity in the Use of Head-Mounted Display. You know that the head-mounted display apply to a variety of tasks and are currently used in various applications in the fields of medicine, military system, training, and education. Recently, the display technology attained levels of quality and cost effectiveness that allow their deployment to the general consumer. This, combined with the outstanding advancement of computer graphics, enable immersion in highly realistic virtual worlds. In this context, the user experience in VR improved, but is still undermined by factors dependent on the HMD construction and use in such a way that any discrepancy causes some level of discomfort and perception issues that may hinder the user performance. Nausea, disorientation, and eye strain, among other symptoms, are grouped under the cybersickness umbrella. Cybersickness has been linked to low refresh rate, latency, misalignment, vection, amount of head displacement, and individual susceptibility. Fortunately, previous works approached the problem of cybersickness, demonstrating that it can be fairly predicted and avoided by controlling such parameters, although some of them are difficult to control. Even when cybersickness is controlled, the visual acuity experienced by an individual with normal vision is a given section warning, and HMD is dependent on a number of additional factors, and rendering technique, display resolution, focus, variance, lens quality, among others. Moreover, in the act of putting in the AMD, people soil the lens, do not fasten enough or fasten too much the strips, do not understand how to set up variance and character nodes in the are seen in well as possible. These factors are not currently controlled in consumer application, and also they are not controlled in VR resource when user studies are performed. Your paper focuses in the specific problem. In this paper, we investigate visual acuity in VR for the first time. Our primary contribution is to define the problem of lower acuity in terms of the relevance of each potential cause. In our research, we are especially concerned by the lack of control in the experimental condition of task-based study in VR. Our premise is that researchers do not know to which extent the results of their experiments are affected by the study variables, A dot, G dot, and interaction technique, or by the user ability to see the element necessary to accomplish the task. We then propose a methodology to measure acuity adapting kinda ophthalmology techniques to VR. This method we expect can be used by researchers in the future. The user each subject is experiencing a suitable level of visual acuity necessary to fulfill a task. It could also be used to normalize the collected user performance data according to a measured level of visual acuity. Although we could not find previous works in VR where the researchers consider acuity as one of the variables in their task-based study. Some previous works exist where visual perception is studied in the use of HMD. The closest related work in 15 years old COI and college constructed a test at a virtual distance of 3 meters using 3 HMD models to correlate display resolution with stereoscopic acuity. They determined the appropriate depth resolution for most texts that reality and stereoscopic vision according to the spatial resolution of the HMD tested. Other previous works used HMD-based application to test visual acuity has a replacement to conventional tests. This is the case of the work by Parra and colleagues and by on colleagues. In the work by Parra, the system also provides therapy, stimulating emergency and accommodation with a short video game. Among other aspects, dynamic acuity was also studied. King and colleagues compared the effect of exercise on dynamic visual acuity using the eye movement development test and a new head-mounted virtual reality. None of these previous works, however, measured the three most general dimensions of visual acuity: focus, contrast, and glare. To characterize visual acuity for HMDs, you propose the adaptation of typical acuity tests from ophthalmology. Each of the tests will measure one of the dimensions of acuity selected: focus with a Snellen Test, contrast with the Pelli-Robson test, and glare with the central glare and peripheral glare test. We then made some hypotheses to be tested experimentally. One of them is that the acuity in VR is significantly different than that in the physical world. More than that the variability of acuity among users is high. To test this hypothesis and characterize how acuity varies, we implement these 3 tests and applied them in an experiment with human subjects. Furthermore, we hypothesize at other characteristics of VR application, such as type of task and attention focus, modulate the effect of acuity over user performance. To analyze the factorial influence of acuity with visual and motor tasks, we designed another experimental setup consisting of a shooting stand where the user are asked to shoot under different visual conditions to reproduce the Snellen test in VR. We placed a virtual share containing the prototypes on the wall opposite to the user location in the VE at a distance of 6 meters. We took care to make the appearance of size of the characters and space following the same standard used in the real-world Snellen. The participants view the scene with only one eye at a time, here the right eye, and this is the same test with the left eye. To build an equivalent of the Pelli-Robson test in VR, we assembled 2 tables of characters triplets, following the Pelli-Robson key to the contrast sensitivity chart, one for each A. The participant sits at 3 meters from the table, so that their vision is directed to the center of the chart. 2 different tables are used for each eye so that the participants do not memorize the sequence of letters. This is the same for the other eye. In our adaptation of the glare test to VR, a set of 5 prototypes of the shine size in black color is shown on the white background on a frame at the wall in front of the participants at 6 meters away. Besides, a white light source is placed above the board and directed to the center of the participants' eyes. This test is similar to central glare, with 2 differences. Here, the room is brightly lit and there is no direct light source towards the user's eyes. We present the shooting test as a task-based user performance assessment in VR. This strategy assumes that test performance correlated with visual acuity, as the task target shooting requires vision to aim at the target. Based lighting conditions vary during the task execution in such a way that contrast, variation, and glare effect impose challenges comparable to those of the previous test. Finally, as the test requires balance and motor action from the user, this test is arguably more comprehensive in terms of the elements to be tested. We created a common immersive scenario using the Unity 3D engine and Oculus Rift CV1 to support the 4 acuity test. The scenario consists of a room where the subject is seated at a certain distance from the wall in front of them. On the wall, we present the 4 testing sequence. At the end of test, we transport the subject to another scenario for the shooting standard test. There, they will stand up and perform a series of shots at a target placed at a distance in front of them. All sections consisted of performing the sequence of 4 acute tests in the same order. Following which of shooting card test, the participant system is a fixed shade on place on the HMD. They are encouraged and instructed to adjust the HMD until they feel comfortable before starting. They are informed that the first 2 tests will be performed initially with the right eye and then with the left eye. A complete dark image is displayed to the other eye. After the first 4 system tests have been performed, the volunteers are asked to stand for the shooting test. They are not allowed to remove the HMD before the end of the experimental session, unless, of course, they decide to leave the experiment. The dependent quantitative variables are collected from the overall response given to experimented during the visual acuity test, Snellen, Pelli-Robson, and Glare. During the shooting test, the system records all events with the accuracy details and timestamp for subsequent analysis, such that an overall response is not required. At the end, participants were asked to fill out a from base and NASA TLX multi three-dimensional assessment tool. 23 volunteers participated in the experiment. The producer performed in our study involving human participants were in accordance with institutional and national research committee ethical standard. A total of 23 participants completed of the test. 6 women with age ranging from 15 to 13 years, with a mean of 21.5 and a standard deviation of 2.3. 12 report visual condition, being the most cited myopia, hypermetropia, and astigmatism. To analyze the performance, we put the Snellen chart here for reference. 20/20 is the normal acuity. There is also the Snellen test. Results showed that 11 participants were able to visualize the 20/18 optotypes with both the left and right eye. 8 participants were successful in discriminating up to the 20/100 row of optotypes with the right eye and 9 with the left eye. The result of Pelli-Robson contrast sensitivity test showed that 15 subjects had contrast sensitivity of 2.10 with both eye. Based as 2 participants attained a contrast sensitivity of 2.25 with the right eye and 1 with the left eye. The result of the glare test peripheral showed that 14 participants were able to visualize the 20/80 optotypes. Other 4 participants were able to discriminate 20/100 optotypes only. The result of glare test central showed the 14 subjects could visualize up to the 20/100 optotypes only. 5 participants could identify the 20/80 optotypes. In the shooting test, a perfect performance would be 100 points overall, with 50 points in daytime and another 50 in nighttime. The participants obtained a mean of 7.22 and D is equal to 13.03 points for the daytime shots and a mean of 20.04 as D equal to 30.49 in nighttime. When questioned, users they had difficulty adjusting the HMD. 11 participants responded they had none and 2 that they had slight difficult. 8 participants reported having considerable difficulty. The average of the ratings is 2.35, where 1 means no difficulty and 5 meant considerable difficulty. We also asked the participant about comfort and presence in the virtual environment with a single question. The rating averaged to 3.65, where 5 is maximum comfort and presence. The remainder of the subjective results come for the analysis of workload. The raw NASA TLX results are shown with the mean score for each statement. The annoyed TLX score, max equal to 100, was assessed as 26.04 for the Snellen test, 23.52 for Pelli-Robson contrast sensitivity test, 24.09 for glare peripheral test, 25.39 for glare test central, and 27.48 for shooting test. Our results brought evidence that some factors such as using appropriate eyeglass for hypermetropia and astigmatism, correct HMD adjustment, and the subject being comfortable in the immersive environment correlate with good results in the Snellen, Pelli-Robson peripheral and central glare tests. Consistently measured acuity correlate with performance in a target shooting task in VR. Moreover, how variation could be detected even using the same HMD with the same physical parameters, resolution, optics, rendering system. Thank you for your attention.